So today I got to speak into a lady that I know here named Cheryl, and I'm not going to put her name out, or well, I guess I did. I'm not going to put her last name out. This is a tortilla, by the way, a low carb tortilla. So I'll be fidgeting with this while I make the video, or I'm gonna actually have a bite too because I'm hungry. So Cheryl, I talked to at Honey Brothers, it's a coffee shop here in Louisville, and she was crying. I walk in there, and she's crying. And so I'm like, Cheryl, what's going on? You know? And she's like, can you get me a coffee? And by the way, I'm an attorney. I work downtown. Cheryl is a financier. She's not a financier. Financier is an investor, I believe, right? She's a finance manager. That's not a financier, is it? No, she's a finance manager, whatever. She's got a great job. She makes a lot of money. She wasn't asking me for a coffee. I don't want you to think of like, you know, a homeless woman or something. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not who Cheryl is. So she's like crying. I get my usual, my large coffee with a splash of almond milk. And I get her a coffee, and I don't even know what I got her. It was like some fancy, like one of those like mostly syrup, whipped cream, you know, ensembles that really doesn't have a lot of coffee. And so Cheryl's a very good looking lady, okay? So like probably like early 30s, I think. I don't know for sure. She's probably gonna kill me. I told her I'm gonna make a video. But early 30s, finance manager, you know, single white female, no children, you know, goes to the gym 5-6 times a week, just in really, really good shape. I mean, really good shape. And if you didn't know her, you would think that she was probably like in her mid-20s. I mean, she looks a lot younger, takes such good care of herself. Anyways, but she's like there bawling, crying. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm be honest with you, I thought that maybe she got laid off or something, because it does happen. She works at one of these big companies where if they need to, they'll fire half the people just so long as those CEOs and board of directors, they get their, you know, their bonuses, you know, because that's the kind of company she works for. But anyways, I was like, are you okay? Did you get fired? What I asked her that, you know, it's kind of stupid, but she like looked up and she's like, no, why would I get fired? It was like, and I explained to her what I just explained to you. Anyways, she said it was July 18th. I'm like, okay, well, today's July 31st. What was July 18th? I mean, I don't know. I thought she was going to say that maybe a family member died or something, you know. I mean, I don't know I don't know the significance of July 18th. In any event, she kept saying July 18th, and I had given her her coffee, and she took some sips, and I was saying to myself, shit, I just bought you a cup of coffee. Shut the hell up and tell me what happened on July 18th. But I didn't want to say that. I mean, mind you, my coffee is $4, $4.18 with a 10% tip included. Hers was like $9. So I felt like, you know, for $9, you better tell me what the hell happened on July. You better say something to me. But I'm just kidding, of course. So she keeps like sobbing. Of course, takes a couple sips of that coffee. Was like, looked pretty good. And she's like, they came on July 18th and I couldn't see him. And I said, okay, at this point, did I lose a piece of this tortilla? At this point, I was like, look, I mean, I was already invested in it. I mean, literally $9 worth, right? But I was already invested in it. Do not pay me back. I'm not mentioning this for you to pay me back, Cheryl. I'm just saying I don't normally sit. I get my coffee, I go back across the street. I work at the Truist building. It's like right across the street from the PNC building where the Honey Brothers at. Downtown Louisville. Guys can verify this. I'm not making this up. But by this point, I was already invested financially, and more importantly, I had already spent like 10 minutes of my time, and I wanted to know what the heck you were crying about. So I sat down. I said, Cheryl, who came and who is the person you couldn't see? And she finally, I find out she's talking about the Night Ranger concert that everybody in Louisville was raving about. But I just didn't make the connection because I'm not a Night Ranger fan. And I mean, they're a good band, but it's just I'm not a Night Ranger fan. I'm also not a, an Autograph fan. I'm not a what else am I not a fan of? I mean, I'm not. Let me see. Gosh, now I've got to come up with a name. Bullet Boys didn't really do it for me. I mean, it was basically a Van Halen spin-off band, So Bullet Boys, Autograph. So I like Night Ranger, good band. I mean, if you gave me a ticket and said, hey, come see them with me, I would. I wouldn't buy a ticket though, and I certainly wouldn't keep the date of it in my mind. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess you're a Night Ranger fan. She's like, isn't everybody? I'm like, yeah, sure, everybody's a Night Ranger. She's 33. I'm 45, and I'm not a Night Ranger fan. I was like, I caught it at the tail end. She caught no end of it. So she must have been like a Night Ranger fan after the fact. Found them I don't know. Maybe maybe she was like a little girl or something and her parents took her to the flea market and Night Ranger was headlining. I don't know. But I just don't understand the connection of a 33-year-old, really, really good looking woman with, a bunch of, with Night Ranger. So, and I don't even know who's in Night Ranger, honestly. I don't know who, is the singer, the guitar player. I don't know who the original members are. I don't know. I don't know. And I should probably have Googled it and pretended oh, I love all their songs. I don't even know. I know they had a couple of hits. I don't know that. I really don't. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. I'm not going to ever make a video pretending to be like some band's hardcore fan. I won't do that. But I nearly died when she said who she wanted to meet. It was Keri Kelli. And listen, folks, I don't know who was in the original Night Ranger, but I would almost bet the hair that is not on my head that Keri Kelli was not a founding member, because Keri Kelli has been in a dozen or 24 80s bands as a fill-in rhythm guitar player. Nothing against being a rhythm guitar player, but it's not it's just, I don't know. And I was like, first of all, I was thinking to myself, how do you even know who Night Ranger is? And then I was like, I was looking around to see if Stevie Rochelle or something would come out with the Metal Sludge version of Punk'd. I was like, how does this amazingly attractive, educated, successful woman know about an 80s band that, not even a good 80s band. I'm sorry, that's not cool, but we're not talking about Rat or Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses or even LA Guns. They sucked. I mean, I can't even tell you their hit song. If they had more than one, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry, they don't suck, but I shouldn't say they suck. They don't suck, but they're not in the same zip code as Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses. And I know LA Guns. I know Night Ranger probably outsold LA Guns by 5 times, but LA Guns is a way better band than Night Ranger. And so is Faster Pussycat, and I'm sorry, but that's just my opinion. I'm sorry. I don't know so I just, they missed out because Cheryl's hot and I couldn't believe it. So I was just like, Cheryl, it'll be okay. It'll be okay.